what do you say we get our call kicked off?
All right, let's do it, Joe.
Let's do it, man, because we got a lot of great content. So, guys, like I mentioned, this is going to be part two: how to sell aged internet leads. Part two. Um, Last week we gave you a lot of great content. Today we're going to get even more into it. Make sure you stick around for the whole call because I'm going to walk you through from A to Z, all the way from the telephone call, what script to be using, all the way how to close it and make the phone call and get your client, get them approved. Also, I mentioned I just again I'm just going to say if you have the financial means, please donate to your local food bank. There are millions of people that are out of work that uh, you know are not doing well. The unemployment's not coming through. So just make sure if you have the financial ability, please donate locally to your local food bank. A couple of real quick updates. Transamerica. I know since they made their changes in November, we haven't been using them as much. They seem to be finally getting some of the wrinkles worked out. One of the things that um, they did because of a lot of pressure from agents like me and you is that they now have back in place their mobile quoting link. And all you have to do is just type in this URL to your phone. It's transamerica.com/quote hyphen FE. Type that exactly into your phone. It'll take you right to the site, and then you can simply just save that to your home screen, and it works just like their other one worked. So this way you can quote Transamerica on the fly. Again, if you're going to write Transamerica, you're going to want to do an e application, okay? But they have worked out some kinks with their e app. It seems to be a lot more user user friendly. Still a great product. So if you got a client that is a good fit for Transamerica, you may want to give them a try again. Also, another quick update. This just came out. Let's see, today's Friday, Wednesday. So 2 days ago, PlanRight. I know a lot of agents they really like Foresters. They like that PlanRight product. I like it too, especially since they revised it and they now have the two tiers with same day coverage. They have the preferred, standard, and basic. So now even with PlanRight, for example, someone with COPD, you can get same day coverage, whereas before you could not. So you can do non face to face sales with the Aptical Live app. This is very similar to, oh my God, it's either Royal Neighbor. Oh, I don't know. It's either Royal Neighbors or Prosperity. I think it's Prosperity use the same kind of technique. So basically, this is how it works. Um, Once you've closed your client, if Foresters is going to be your go-to company because of maybe the client's health impairment, um, you log into the agent portal. You start a new application. It takes you to the live app. You've got to complete that and all the related forms. Then once you get everything typed in, you're simply going to call Aptical with your client. You're going to complete the personal health interview. Once you get the point of sale decision done and everything's completed, then your client is going to get an email to sign the actual application. So you are getting a hard approval. So if you are inclined to use Foresters, it is now available for telesales. Okay, moving on. Last week we had a great guest speaker, Kandi Cardona. Man, I got a lot of great compliments from the content that she gave us, and that was kind of on the subject about not being defeated, and I was talking about Candy's success where uh, she's been doing insurance for over a decade and had never sold a policy over the phone. And last week, or actually it was 2 weeks ago, I think she had like four 4 applications for over 2,000 in premium. This last week, she submitted another 3 applications. That was through, again, just calling through old clients. So virtually zero lead cost, and wrote another close to $2,000 in premium. Also, just a couple of other real quick success stories. People that are not giving up, people that are not accepting defeat. Sam Mirakamali out in Los Angeles, California. He wrote last week. He wrote 6 applications for over 4,000 in premium. And then Lee down in Florida, down close to the Miami area, he had 4 applications last week for over $4,500 in premium, all over the phone. There's 100% telesales, guys. So agents are making it happen, man. We just got to commit to doing, honestly, you got to commit to doing the work, and you've got to have people to call. That's totally going to be the key. And what we're going to be talking about today, again, is if you don't have a huge budget, if you don't have the budget to spend, 40 or 50 bucks a pop for a live transfer, I understand that. That's a lot of money to be spending on leads. You have to figure out more affordable alternatives. That's what we're trying to bring to you. Two solutions to get to that problem. One is take advantage of the Age Lead Store. All you got to do is go to their website. It's Age Lead Store. You type in that you want the final expense leads. You determine what category you want. Do you want the fresher ones that are 3 to 30 days old? Those are only $2. You can do the leads that are 31 days, a month, to just under 90 days, so less than 3 months old, for $1.50. Or if you want to incorporate some of the older leads, you can get leads as cheap as 40 cents or even 25 cents. And the nice thing about Age Lead Store is that they are extremely accommodating. If you get, if it's a bad phone number, they'll replace the lead for you, no questions asked. And they're also, the other thing too, is that they are constantly updating their database. So they're adding email addresses, they're adding phone numbers as they are able to get that content with these leads. So this is a great source to get people that have expressed interest. They had intent, but just the lead has been aged. But you just got to take advantage of it. Another source that I picked up is I purchased a list from List Giant. So I'm doing these in blocks of 10,000. So I have the account open. If you want, and now this is raw data. This is not people that have they haven't applied or they haven't looked for interest, but we can really filter the lead and get you the exact demographics that you want. I was talking about this last week. So just real quick as an example, if you're, Jimmy, I'll give you like an example. If you're in Texas, if you want leads just in the San Antonio area, man, we could do it by zip code, we could do it by county, and we could really get down to the granular filter, meaning the sex, age. And I mentioned last week I had one agent that only wanted to work with single females between the age of 55 and 75, and we were able to find a lot of leads in that with that criteria. You get a bad phone number, they'll replace the lead for you, no questions asked. So again, the thing about List Giant, these leads are a little bit more expensive than the other source that I was using, but it's fresh data. In other words, they're constantly updating that list. So it's 5 cents a record, guys. So literally, if you just want to incorporate, especially if you've got an auto dialer, and just incorporate 100 of these. What are you talking about? How much is that? $5? What's 100 times 0.05? That's $5. For $5, you can get 100 contacts to mix into your mix. Jimmy, were you going to add something?
Yeah, I was going to just mention, we did a webinar and it's on the YouTube page. I guess 2-3 years ago, maybe longer, I don't know, on Radius Bob. Do you remember that, Joe?
Oh yeah, of course. Yep.
And I hadn't used Radius Bob in a while, had discontinued my services with them, but I went back to check it out, and their price came down. Their entry level price right now is only $38 a month, and just to throw this out there, for 38 bucks a month, it comes with an auto dialer. It allows you to send text messages to clients or emails to clients, all from the same CRM, and it makes the notes. And for a couple of bucks a month extra, you can get individual lines. So it's per line. So I mean, just depending how many markets you're calling, you can get a local area code for that market or toll-free number or however you want to do it. But I mean, if you do Radius Bob and List Giant, I mean, that's a very low cost option.
Yeah, and even with that, and also with the age lead, they both come in the the format that they come in. It very easily is loadable to Radius Bob,
Exactly.
which is which is awesome. So guys, there's what we're trying to do is eliminate the cost barrier of getting started with telesales. You don't have to do the $50 a lead, option. Um, so there's a lot of great things that you can do. I've been calling leads off of the Age Lead Store and have been having success. I'm not using an auto dialer. If I was doing it full time, I would definitely invest in one, because the key is if you're dialing older leads or like a list from List Giant, the key is being able to make several hundred phone calls a day. You just can't do that manually, punching in one number at a time. So very good. Sales funnel, got to have leads, baby. Leads, 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 leads. When you're doing telesales, leads turn into connections. Connections turn into presentations, applications, and income. And what I want to do, Jimmy, I want to get right into it, man. What I'd like to do is get right into the script that we were doing last week. But I really, if you don't mind, I'd like to role play it, and I'd like to do it all the way to the end, to where I'm actually submitting an application.
Okay.
Kind of cover it from start to finish, so people can really get an idea of, they can go back, they can listen to this recording and really get an idea of what the flow sounds like, and how do you transition from, okay, well, you got the phone script, but how do you actually transition into making the um, that phone call. I'll tell you how I do it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the script here. And before we get started, Jimmy, anything you want to I'm going to have you be the client, I'm going to be the agent. Anything any comments or anything you want to add before we hop into this?
No, let's jump into it.
Okay, all right, sounds good. And all right, so I'm just going to ring you up. And guys, the important thing with the phone script is um, it's good to have it like memorized. And remember, it doesn't need to be word for word. You're gonna, as you're reading the script, you're gonna want to interject in your own vocabulary and your voice inflection of how you speak, because you don't want it to sound like you're reading from a script. Okay. So I'm just gonna ring Jimmy up. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Jimmy.
Yes, who's this?
Jimmy, this is Joe with Senior Benefits Center for the state of Texas. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good, good. Well, man, I'm really glad I finally got a hold of you. Jimmy, how are you getting along? Everything going okay with everything that's going on with the coronavirus?
Yeah, we're doing okay.
You good? Your family staying safe?
Yes, we are.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's important. Yeah. Well, they've got us. Everyone's working from home. But Jimmy, the reason why I was giving you a call is that you may recall, but a while back you had requested some information online about the state regulated programs to cover final expenses. It was talking about burial and cremation. And the good news is, Jimmy, you've already been pre-approved. It's just my job to help you with the enrollment process. Out of curiosity, do you know how these state regulated programs work?
No.
Okay, all right. Well, Jimmy, the first thing I just want to tell you is that um, I don't work for an insurance company. Okay, our company, Senior Solutions, we're actually what they call we're a state licensed brokerage, and I'm a state licensed field underwriter. So my job is just to help simply get you approved. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shop 10 or 15 different top rated insurance companies to find you the best coverage with the lowest cost possible. And if I can find a program that fulfills your needs, but more importantly, it's got to fit your budget, I'm simply going to help you apply for it. Does that sound fair enough?
Okay. How long is
Okay.
it going to take?
Only a few minutes, Jimmy. Honestly, in fact, I will get right to it. Um, quick question: do you feel like a benefit of like 5 to 10,000 would be enough, or do you want information for a larger amount?
I think 10,000 is enough.
10,000 would be enough? Okay, all right, perfect. Hey, Jimmy, I know this may seem like a silly question, but I am required by law to ask you this. Are you currently hospitalized or do you reside in a nursing home?
No, I live at the house.
Yeah, that's what I figured, Jimmy. We're just required to ask that question. Um, Also, Jimmy, do you require any assistance for daily activities such as eating, bathing, dressing, or toiletries?
No.
No, okay. Well, do you need assistance for walking to use a walker, wheelchair, or maybe an electric scooter?
No, I just have somebody clean the house.
Okay, all right, no problem. And then if you don't mind, could you just share with me what are you currently taking medications for? So I don't necessarily need the name of the medication, but just what do you take the medication for?
High cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes,
Okay, is that it?
anxiety.
Okay, I'm just writing all this down. So I've got high cholesterol, high blood pressure, you're diabetic, and you have you take medication for anxiety
And my thyroid too.
and the thyroid. Okay, all right. Question, Jimmy, on the high blood pressure, with medication, is your high blood pressure, is it under control, or
Yeah.
have you ever passed out or been hospitalized?
No, no, it's under control.
Under control. All right, perfect. And then with diabetes, what do you currently take for your diabetes? Do you take insulin or pills or
No, just
both?
metformin.
Metformin? Okay. Have you ever experienced any complications due to your diabetes, like um, issues with your usually they call it neuropathy, which is like diabetic nerve pain, and sometimes they'll prescribe this medication called gabapentin. Any issues with that?
No,
Okay, all right. And have you ever experienced insulin shock or a diabetic coma?
no.
Okay, so you would say your diabetes is well controlled?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you recall how old were you when you first got diagnosed with diabetes?
Oh, just a couple of years ago.
Okay, so you were in your 50s then?
Yes.
Okay, all right, no problem. Um, and then with the anxiety you had mentioned, um, is it just like um, regular anxiety, or have you ever been diagnosed with bipolar depression or schizophrenia?
No, no, I just get nervous sometimes and just it helps me relax.
Perfect. And out of curiosity, do you recall the name of the medication you take?
Um, I have to go look for it.
Is it just like a Valium or something like that, or like it's not a heavy duty narcotic, is it?
Oh, no, no.
Okay, all right. And you mentioned one last thing with your thyroid. Um, do you have an overactive or underactive thyroid?
Underactive.
Okay. Did you have surgery on um on your thyroid?
No, no,
Okay. And it wasn't you've never had thyroid cancer?
no.
Okay. All right. That sounds really good, Jimmy. I mean, you're going to qualify based on what you're telling me. You're going to qualify for the best rate that's out there. I just have just a few more quick questions, and then I'll get right to the quote. Have you ever experienced a heart attack, stroke, or cancer?
Yeah, I had a heart attack
Okay, and then how long ago was that?
about 5 years ago.
Okay, and after the heart attack, did you end up having surgery, or what happened with the heart attack?
Nothing. They said that it was just high. You know, I was under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, and uh,
Okay,
with diet and stuff, everything is okay. I take a baby aspirin.
okay, okay, just aspirin. You don't take a prescribed blood thinner then.
No.
Okay, all right. And then no stroke or cancer?
Yeah, I had a stroke too. Like 10 years ago, I had a stroke.
Okay. Now, typically what I've experienced, Jimmy, is that people that have had strokes, they usually are prescribed sometimes a blood thinner. You're not on any blood thinners?
I used to be, but I don't need it anymore.
Okay. When's the last time you took the medication for a stroke?
Oh, about 3 years ago.
Okay, 3 years ago. Okay. And your doctor took you off that medication?
Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect. Um, have you ever had any issues with your lung issues that required an inhaler or oxygen?
No. Well, I have asthma.
Okay. What do you okay, what do you do you use what type of medication do you take for your asthma?
It's just a
Jimmy, you
little.
sound like the client I had last week, man. She had everything.
I use a inhaler. I think it's called a butyrol. It's just
Oh,
as
okay. Just as needed. How often do you need it?
it's seasonal.
Okay, so you're not use how often do you get that prescription refilled?
Usually in the spring and in the fall.
Okay, so just a couple times a year then.
Yeah.
Okay, is it more like an emergency, like a rescue inhaler?
Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect. Any other issues with your lungs?
No. I forgot to tell you, I have arthritis too.
Oh, okay. And do you have osteo or is it rheumatoid arthritis?
Osteo.
Okay, what do you take for that?
I take a leave.
Okay, just something over the counter?
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right, no problem. Well, thanks for bringing that up. Have you ever been treated for any kidney diseases or liver diseases, like
No.
hepatitis, or you never had any kidney issues?
Uh-uh.
Okay. And then have you ever been treated for any neurological disease, which would be like Parkinson's, cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, epilepsy?
No, no, no,
Okay.
no. I'm healthy.
Okay. It sounds like it. And then have you ever taken medications for any memory loss?
No.
Okay. And then what about nicotine? Do you use any tobacco or nicotine products?
Oh no.
No. Okay. All right. Very good. Well, Jimmy, let me do this. Let me lay out the plans now that I know all the medications you're on. I know exactly what I can get you qualified for. Let me do this. Let me lay out the plans and see if we can find something that's going to fit your budget. But I'm going to ask you to do me a huge favor, and that
Sure.
is if what I'm showing you, if it doesn't fit into your budget, you got to let me know, okay?
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because we can make adjustments. We can find you a plan that will fit your budget. And at the end of the day, I mean, wouldn't you agree that at least having some coverage in place is better than not having anything at all?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, do me a favor, Jimmy. Can you grab a pen and paper so you can write down the plans that are available?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Now, one thing, Jimmy, is I know you're looking for a $10,000 benefit, but I am required to show you what the maximum benefit is, just so you know what it is. So based on your age, the maximum benefit that you could get approved for would be 35,000. So if you don't mind, could you just write down on the piece of paper, just write down 35,000?
Okay.
Okay. And then also, I'm going to show you a plan for 15,000. And then I'm going to I'm going to give you the quote for the 10,000, which is what you said that you felt comfortable with.
Okay.
All right. Now for the 35,000, I'm doing these guys. It's going to take me just a second. Jimmy, just hold on the phone just for a second while I pull up all the rates from the top rated companies. And it may take you a minute to do this. You know, you can talk to your client while you're doing this. Okay, I've got all the figures down here, Jimmy. Next to the 35,000, I want you to write down $189.67.
Okay.
That's what you would need to set aside on a monthly basis to enroll into that program. For the 15,000, write down $83.12. And
How
then
much?
for the 10,000, write down $56.48. That's what you would need to set aside to enroll into the program for 10,000. But Jimmy, you tell me which of these works best for you.
What was that second one?
The second one was for 15,000.
But how much was it?
Oh, $83.12.
Oh, that's reasonable.
Well, you tell me which works best for you.
I like that one.
The one for $15,083. I mean $83.12.
Yes.
Okay. And Jimmy, before we apply for it, you feel in your heart that $83, that's affordable. That's not going to be taking food off your table.
No, no, that's good.
Okay, because the worst thing I would want to do is have you apply for something and not be able to afford it, and it uh, have to be canceled. So Jimmy, here's the next step. Now that I know exactly what you're going to qualify for, the next step is for us to get on the phone with the insurance company and actually just do the application. And they're going to ask you the exact same health questions that I did. And then they're also going to enroll you into the automatic um, payment enrollment to draft the premium. I'm assuming that you're probably going to want the premiums come out when you get your Social Security check.
Yeah, can they just take it out of my check?
They can take it out of it'll come directly from your direct deposit. What day do you get your Social Security?
I get it on the 3rd, but what company is this?
This is with Liberty Bankers Life right out of Dallas, Texas. It's an A-rated company, been around for many, many years.
What was the name of that company again?
Liberty Bankers Life.
Oh, and they're in Texas?
Yep, they're in Dallas, right outside Dallas, Texas, and in Farmington.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give my bank account information over the phone. I'm not comfortable with that. Can't they just send me a bill?
Actually, they can send you a bill, but it's done on a quarterly basis.
Hmm.
So you would need to pay quarterly, not monthly. And here's the thing, Jimmy, I totally understand what you're saying. Like, I don't like people taking money directly from my checking account either. I like paying my bills, like sending a check or doing it over the phone. But can I tell you, there's only one bill that I have that I do automatic from my checking account, and that's my life insurance. You want to know why?
Why is that?
Because I want to make sure if something happens to me, like if I'm in a car accident and I'm in a coma for a month or two, or I get really, really sick and I'm hospitalized, I want to make sure no matter what's going on in my world that I never miss an insurance premium. Because the thing that is the worst thing that could ever happen to somebody is that they take out a life insurance policy and they pay on it for a couple of years, and then and I've seen it happen, they get really, really sick, they have to go to the hospital, no one's there to, the family member, they're not thinking about, oh, what bills need to be paid. All they're worried about is making sure that their family member gets better, and the policy end up lapsing, and they have no coverage after paying on it for all those years. So I can appreciate what you're saying, and I agree with you 100%. But I promise you, this is one bill that you want to make sure that comes out automatically, and you never miss a payment. And I also tell you, Jimmy, is that Liberty Bankers, I promise you, they'll never take out the money before it's due. You will never have to worry about that. Okay?
Okay,
Does that sound fair enough?
fair enough.
Okay. Man, you're kind of a tough client today. I love it. But this is some of the things that you run into, guys. So I'm glad that um, we're doing this. So from here, I've already determined that Liberty Bankers is going to be my go-to company. I've gone through all the health questions. We're going to be making the phone call, but before we make the phone call, I'm going to go over a few more things with Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, before we actually before we do the phone interview to get you actually approved over the phone, there's just a couple of things I need to go over with you, and that is with these state-regulated plans, there's actually 5 guarantees that come with this policy. And the first guarantee is that we're going to find you affordable premiums that are guaranteed never to increase regardless to any changes to your age or health. Also, the benefit is guaranteed never to decrease, Jimmy. So you never have to worry about the face amount going down. And the benefit is paid guaranteed tax-free to your family, to your beneficiary. Also, it's guaranteed never to be canceled due to any changes to your age or health, unlike other plans. And also, it's going to build cash value. And this cash value accumulates over time that can be used for emergencies or other financial needs. And speaking of which, Jimmy, who did you want to name as your beneficiary? In other words, who do you want the money to go to?
Oh, I want that to go to my son, Jimmy Jr.
Okay, Jimmy Jr. And what is his date of birth?
10/15/10.
Okay, all right, perfect. Jimmy, just a few other questions or a few other things I need to go over with you before we do the phone interview. One is that when we get on the phone with Liberty Bankers, there's going to be several disclosures that they're going to read to you, that they're going to ask you if I read to you. The first one is about the HIPAA. Okay, they're going to ask you, did your agent read to you the HIPAA disclosure, which I'm going to do now, Jimmy. Jimmy, the HIPAA disclosure is simply the Federal Privacy Act that protects your information under federal law and cannot be disclosed without your permission, okay? So you need to answer yes that I read you that. Also, they're going to ask you about the accelerated death benefit. Jimmy, this life insurance policy also comes with an accelerated death benefit clause, which simply says is that if you were to get diagnosed with a terminal illness where life expectancy is less than 12 months, that you could accelerate up to 80% of the death benefit before you actually pass away. So simply just when they ask you if I told you about that or read you the disclosure, that is the disclosure, okay? Also, they're going to ask about replacement forms. If I reviewed the replacement forms with you, Jimmy, we are not replacing any life insurance, okay? So there are no replacement forms necessary in this process. Also, they're going to read you a long disclosure about voice signature and fraud that you have to say that you agree to apply your voice signature, and also that you agree that the answers that you're giving are to the best of your knowledge correct, and that would be the fraud statement, okay?
Okay.
And then finally, They are going to ask you, and I'll ask you now, Jimmy, are you working, retired, or disabled?
Oh, I'm retired.
You're retired. Okay, so they're going to ask you on the application if you're disabled. You simply ask no to that. And then also, they are going to ask you about, there is a question about high blood pressure or diabetes. And
Hmm.
sometimes it trips people up because the question reads, and let me find it here and I'll read it to you. Give me 1 second. The question is, Jimmy, on one of the first questions they're going to ask you is that within the last 2 years, have you been diagnosed or treated or tested positive for uncontrolled diabetes or uncontrolled high blood pressure? Sometimes that trips people up, that they answer yes to that because they're thinking the insurance company is asking if they're being treated, and they're really asking if it's uncontrolled. So you agreed that both your diabetes and your high blood pressure is under control, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so make sure you answer no to that question. And I've already gone through all the other questions, so you should be answering, when we get on the phone, you should be answering no to all the health questions, but answering yes to all of the disclosures. Okay?
Okay. Now, are they going to ask me anything about my criminal history? Because I was incarcerated.
Great. Um, I don't know, Jimmy, are they?
They're gonna ask Joe if in the last 2 years been convicted of a
Oh, here
felony.
it is. Yeah, right under the alcohol and drug abuse. Uh, well, Jimmy, now that you bring it up, in the last 2 years, have you been convicted of a felony or on parole?
No, no, not in the last 2 years.
Okay, all right. So just answer no to that question.
No, does it matter if it was a felony?
No, it does not.
Does it matter if it was a violent crime?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
All right, guys. So from here, once you get through all that, going through the, you've screened your question, you screened your client, but it's imperative that you prepare your client to answer to the questions that are going to be asked, because what can be very frustrating and take a long time is that when you get on the phone interview as an example with Liberty Bankers, and they ask the client, did your agent read you the accelerated death benefit disclosure or the HIPAA form? And the client says, well, no. Uh, if you didn't do it, you're going to have to go back and do it. As an example like this, let's say we were doing it, and um, the 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 agent asked the question, "Oh, Mr. Hernandez, did your agent read you the HIPAA form?" And I know I did, and the agent says, the client says no. I can step in and say, um, Mr. Hernandez, if you recall, before we start the phone interview, I went over the HIPAA disclosure, the Federal Privacy Act that keeps your information private under federal law unless permitted to be disclosed. And he says, oh yeah, you did read me that. That'll keep you from having to go back and read everything. So really, from here, guys, all I want to do is I want to call Liberty Bankers. I'm going to call the regular phone number. I'm going to complete the phone interview. We're going to get through that, and they're going to get all the banking information. Typically, I would get the banking information ahead of time. If Jimmy doesn't want to give me his banking information, that's okay, Jimmy. You don't have to give me your banking information. You can just give it directly to the insurance company. So I can have Jimmy, instead of giving it to me, he can, when we do the phone interview, he can give that directly to the insurance company. That is totally permitted. So the reason why we're doing this scenario with Liberty Bankers, because it's one of the companies that I like, because there's no emailing back and forth. I don't have to worry about my client having an email. It's one phone call. It's a one sit close. I get them on the phone. I close them on the premium. I call the insurance company. and I get a definitive hard approval on the spot. So once we finish the interview, they're going to they're going to come back, they're going to review the medical history, they're going to come back and say, hey, good news, Mr. Hernandez, you've been approved for, you know, the preferred rate. Okay. So once I wrap it up with my client, you know, I'm going to let Jimmy know, listen, we're going to, you know, got everything processed. I'm going to reconfirm that the premiums are okay. Hey, Jimmy, before I let you go, I just want to confirm that that $83.12 for the 15,000, again, I just want to make sure that that totally fits your budget. So I want to
Yeah.
get that I want to get that confirmation from Jimmy, and then I also want to let him know I'm going to follow up with him in about 10 days to verify to make sure he got his policy. And once we're done, first thing I'm going to do as soon as we hang up or later that evening, I'm going to write Jimmy a thank you card. I'm going to put that in the mail, send him out a thank you card, and then I'm going to follow up with him probably in about 4 or 5 days. Give him enough time that I know that he received the thank you card. Follow up with Jimmy, make sure he got my thank you card, and see if he has any questions about the policy. And that would also be a good time if I didn't get, you know, if I'm running so long, sometimes you run so long on these phone calls, like, you know, you don't ask for referrals. So sometimes on that follow-up phone call, it's a good idea to ask for referrals.
Hey Joe, can I recap something real quick?
Yeah, recap is, yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know if everybody caught it, but what rate did you quote me?
Oh, I quoted you preferred.
Preferred. And so for those of you that are listening, you know, I intentionally threw out a lot of medical conditions and illnesses that I knew would not throw me out of the preferred um, category. So I just want y'all to, you know, understand a person can have a whole lot of stuff, and this is very common, but as long as you're going through the application, don't let all that stuff like throw you off. The underwriting questions on the application is really going to define the coverage level. So as long as you're going through those knockout questions and all the answers are no, then it's preferred. So don't get tripped up on it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of agents do sometimes, Jimmy, like, you know, the client will start throwing out all this stuff and I'm like, oh my God, I got to go guaranteed issue. You know, they have diabetes and COPD, you know, where, you know, you just got to, you know, stay calm, cool, collective, you know, and read through the application, take a look at the cheat sheet. And, you know, I mean, realistically, you know, 75, 80% of your clients are going to get qualified for same day coverage for an immediate benefit. One thing I will tell you, a little thing about Liberty Bankers, a little trick, I guess you could say, is always apply for preferred. Because if you, well, like as an example, I may quote, like if I know Jimmy has COPD as an example, I may quote him standard as an example, but the one thing about Liberty Bankers is that if you quote them standard, but they qualify for preferred, I don't think they'll give you the better rate. So when in doubt, always ask for preferred and let your client know that it could possibly, you know, go to standard. You just want to be careful with that. What other tips or tricks do you have, Jimmy, for on phone sales?
Well, if you get hung up on the payment, I like what Joe says is let's go ahead and, you know, you can give that to the underwriter on the phone, or, you know, need be, send them a text with a picture of your ID, your insurance license, and your business card. And so, they know that you're legitimate. That always makes people feel better. I've done this a few times throughout the years, even in person. Sometimes that comes up, and I'll let them know. Say, look, uh, if I was gonna, be a crook and stuff like that, I certainly wouldn't give you a picture of myself, because you can give that to the police and they'll track me down real quick, and they start laughing. So,
Very, very true. The other thing too, which I just had a lady yesterday that was a little bit hesitant about that, is I just let her know up front, well, listen, you know, Mrs. Smith, I understand what you're saying, and I don't like giving out my bank information either, but just to let you know, we're not taking any payments today, okay? And then sometimes they think you're asking for the bank information because you want to, take money out of their account right away, which is not going to be the case. It's just it's a pre-authorization. So when you are approved, they're able to go ahead and draft the payment. And with Liberty Bankers, if the client doesn't want to give you the money or give you the account information, just let them know it's okay. I totally understand. You don't need to give me the account information over the phone, but I promise you, we're not taking any payments today. You can give that information directly to the insurance company. And sometimes those, oh, okay, they feel better. I'm still on the phone, I can still hear, you know what I mean? But knowing that they do it that, and sometimes the important thing is just getting on, even if you can't get over that hurdle, is just getting on the phone and doing that three-way call. Because what I can tell you is that the phone interviewers that are doing the three-way call, these people are ultra professional, and it really sounds like totally legit because they're reading all these legal disclosures and all this stuff. So I mean, it kind of takes your, once you get on the three-way call with the carrier, kind of takes your call to the next level, and it really lends you credibility as well uh, when you do that three-way call. That's one thing I've noticed as well. Anything else, Jimmy, we want to go over? Let's see if we have any questions. Guys, raise your hand on the webinar button. Just raise your hand if you do have any questions. And let's see here. I do have a question from Ken. Ken, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you if you're still there. Ken, are you there? No? Okay. He had a question. He had a question mark there, but let's see if we have any. Let's open it to questions. Either raise your hand or do the question mark.
well, type in the question if you're going to do that.
Let's see, go to question panel. Well, his question was, do you have a telemarketing script specifically for a phone meeting? Okay, good question, which I think we probably answered that one. Okay, so guys, at the end of the day, you can have the perfect script, you can practice all you want, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to activity. And what I've noticed with the agents that are still putting up production is the fact that they are keeping up with their activity goals. They're getting leads that are coming in. They're putting in the 5, 6, 7 hours a day of dial time. They're doing, $150 per day. They're committed to doing getting the connections in, making sure that they're getting the presentations. And those are the agents that are ending up with 4 or 5 sales a week, which is 2-3 grand a week in premium, which is honestly is not bad. The other thing too that's going to be important is tracking your activity, and this is the activity tracker that we devised. I sent it out. I sent it out last week. Everybody should have a copy of it. I'll send it out again this week. We'll get this recording up and loaded onto YouTube and make sure that everybody gets it. So I think we can wrap up, Jimmy, a little bit early. I've got 11:22. Any last comments before we let everybody go?
Well, I just want to say, regardless of what I threw at Joe, if you noticed, his tone was still low and slow, and that's the key. Don't get riled up. Don't start talking fast. Don't raise your voice. Just keep it low and slow, and that's the key.
Yeah, don't
So,
let anything phase you. Like no matter what they throw at you, don't let it phase you. It's not a big deal. But just ask the best thing you do when someone throws something at you is simply ask a follow-up question. Make sure you thoroughly understand it. Like the thing that Jimmy threw at me about asthma. You know, Asthma could be a big deal. Like I know people that say, "Oh, I just have asthma." And then I find out that, they use an inhaler every single day and they're refilling it once a month. Well, that potentially could fall under chronic lung disease if they're getting their Pro Air, refilled 12 times a year, because that's going to show up on their prescription history. But yeah, just those follow-up questions are important. Last thing I'm going to leave with you guys, if you've been with us for a while, we did a webinar 6-7 months ago. You may remember the honey badger, talking about how fearless these animals are. This upcoming week, just commit to yourself that you're going to be like the honey badger. You're going to be fearless. You're going to be thick-skinned. In other words, you're not going to let anything phase you. You know what I mean? You're going to learn to be, you're going to be resourceful. You're going to try different leads called old leads, new leads, every kind of lead that you can get your hands on. You're going to be unwavering. In other words, you're not going to let anything interfere with what you're doing. And you're going to be, lastly, we're going to be ferocious, man. Like take no prisoners. So be like the honey badger. It's a good motto to live by. All right, buddy. Well, let's sign off. Let's get our weekend started. And if you guys have any questions, if you need help with coaching, you want to practice, you want to go over your phone script with me, give me a call. I'd be more than happy to give you guys some coaching with that. Jimmy, are you there?
I'm here. All right. Well, y'all take care. Thank you, Joe.
All right, buddy. All right, everybody have a great weekend. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.